in New Year's Eve, $8,500.
Yeah.
That's good.
I played New Year's Eve. We made 700.
Well, you made 500.
Now, granted, I'm playing War Pigs and they're doing Daddy's Little Girl, so I mean.
Yeah,
but
it's what's your price?
I mean,
you made 500 more than we did.
But that's the trade-off, and you know,
everybody's got their price.
I mean, if you're in it for the money, that's one thing, and you know.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to do some different kinds of things.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to have another job because even you know, you're still gonna have to struggle no matter what kind of music you want to play.
But if you become part of a successful wedding gig type of thing, you can make a living at that.
Mm. And you can also pretty much suck in terms of what
you can be a killer player too, though. But you can be. I mean,
and you can be pretty freaking lame and get away with it too.
Yeah, you can.
And I've tried to switch off with guys that have do the top 40, do the wedding thing. All you know, what's his name, broke his leg or whatever. And I did it one time, and I will never ever do it again. You know, and it's a guy that plays out all the time, makes a ton of money.
It's a demanding thing. It's a completely different kind of headspace. It's a demanding thing, and that's a job. That's not, you know, your rock and roll adventure. That's a job.
Yeah, right.
That's the difference. I mean, you're playing, and it's work. It's not because you are playing for the love of what you're playing.
No.
If you want to play for the love of what you're playing, go to school, get a good education in something else, and keep it a hobby, and hope to get lucky.
Well, so many other people would say that the reason that they got started playing music is because they wanted to get laid. I love that one too. You know?
Which brings us back to the chick singer.
Mm.
The chick singer.
I have a different view on the chick singer.
Well, you
so
do.
You guys go ahead.
Well, you have a.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
female collaborator.
I think the chick singer. A lot of times, a lot of the crap that chick singers get in heavy metal bands is deserved.
Right.
But that's because you've got the wrong singer. It doesn't have anything really to do with the gender.
I'm not even talking about heavy metal or anything specifically about that. I was going to get back to my first high school band where we were looking for a singer. And the 15-year-old drummer's girlfriend could sing.
Oops.
And we brought her in, and she could sing well enough to sing the covers we were playing.
Right.
Except and...
No.
She
was the drummer's girlfriend when she joined the band. Within about 3 weeks, she was hitting on me. And because I was friends with the drummer, I basically said, you know, no, I'm not going there. So she went for the guitarist instead.
Oh, that's it. That's the old story.
And then, you know, the drummer's pissed off. The guitarist is with the girl. I'm like, well, I'm glad I gave this up, to, you know.
Right, so it's going to be a war anyway.
It's going to be a war anyway, and it falls apart. And, you know, this is, you know, when you're 15, 16 years old.
It's pretty traumatic.
Don't fuck your band.
Well, was anybody in your band with the girl? Nobody was involved with her in any way?
No.
So that's probably why you avoided the pitfalls of having a female singer.
Well, and she, you know, she respected the line, and we all respected the line.
Right.
But you will be tempted to hire a female singer because they can, in a lot of areas, sing better than men, just inherently, and carry a tune in a way that a lot of men cannot.
Right.
And, you know, be very careful when you do this because it upsets the dynamic of the band.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I don't recommend it.
It's not a recommended practice.
You definitely got to know what you're doing.
Yep. And, you know,
send me a PM on it if anybody wants to talk about it. 'Cause my opinion is different, and you know, that kind of goes back onto the vision. I had a vision of something that I didn't want. I wanted to make it a little bit different.
But famous bands are littered with history of this kind of thing, and for every famous band.
Yeah, but Slash and Axl weren't sleeping with each other.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Yeah. No, but.
Hi, Smoking Guns.
Yeah. But
couldn't resist.
Yeah, it's you know, whether it's Heart or whether it's, you know, Neil
Fleetwood Mac, that's
Fleetwood
probably
Mac
the most
or-
famous one.
Yeah,
You know,
they took that all
Neil
the way to
Giraldo and
Bangkok.
Pat Benatar lived happily ever after, but
hell.
for every one of them,
Jefferson
It was
Airplane.
all the way back, Mamas and the Papas.
Mamas and the
Yeah.
Papas.
oh, exactly.
Yeah.
It screws up the dynamic of your band tremendously, and you know, it's just not the easy road.
Right. Well, I would have to say that you got to be the exception to the rule with
Yeah,
your
I think so.
with your thing. So I mean,
I think so.
there's always the exception.
And you know, it wasn't like I set out to hire a chick. It was like I tried out different people, and she was the best
And
one.
she was the best one. Well,
Yeah, she was the best match. So
there you go.
you know, I was trying to find Don Dawkin. You know,
Why?
I just thought that was the thing to do.
I think he's available.
Who said that thing about the ferocious chipmunk? That's another good one.
Well, you know, remember it was like '87.
Don is feather boas.
Okay. Well, what else do we have on that list? Albums that everyone must have. I guess we've kind of gone through that one.
No, we're just moving on to like, you know, the self-serving and mediocre questions.
How about the,
Nothing personal.
Randy and Zach or something like that?
Who?
Yeah.
Me, who?
I stopped reading that one after like 3 or 4 pages.
All you guys that are in the dime bag, it's like you never left.
Well,
Yeah.
Chubb's made a career out
Do we
of it.
want to talk about our influences, or do we talked about our tonal benchmarks, but I mean, if we want to talk
Yeah.
about our
Well,
influences.
you know what the funny thing is I think all of us are all kind of the same in a lot of ways. When it like we all were into the same 3 or 4 bands, pretty much, weren't we?
Aside from Rick, who's a lot more diverse, but
Yeah.
we have a lot of overlap in influences because we basically are talking about a genre that's really narrow.
Right.
And
So it was Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Aerosmith,
Deep Purple.
Deep Purple, Rush.
I mean, these are obvious.
Yeah.
Scorpions, UFO,
Yeah.
But that was
Judas
a,
Priest.
Thin
that-
Lizzy.
that was a little later for me though, and
But I mean, I've said this a million times, but for me, everything goes back to Zeppelin, Sabbath, and Purple. But I mean, that doesn't mean I was subconsciously influenced by things that I heard long before that. I mean, I was definitely influenced by the Beatles and the Stones and the Who.
Doors.
Those things are not in my guitar work,
right.
but they're in my sense of melody.
They're in your musical intelligence.
Exactly.
And you mentioned Deep Purple. That was the first band that got me into the type of music that this form is all about. I mean, because when I listened to Cream or the first couple of Led Zeppelin albums, I never really listened to them like they were hard rock. When I listened to them, I was hearing more old American blues or something, just with a harder edge to it. But I thought of it strictly as blues rock. I didn't think of it the other way. But then when I heard Deep Purple,
But the labels have changed over time.
yeah, but even back then when Deep Purple played, it was tremendously different than anything I was hearing from Jimmy Page or
Right.
Eric Clapton with Cream. It was just,
It's a little more prog, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing that sucks is that those days are over, man. Like,
Long
you know,
gone.
that's the thing that really blows, man. And the only, so that's the sad part, man.
About 4 years ago, wasn't that scary?
hearing stuff like
Yeah.
that. Can't think of it now. Made in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That was like a whole new world
Oh, yeah,
for me up to that point.
That